Hey guys, how you doing? Today I really want to share with you a speech I was asked to write a couple of months ago. I was asked to write this speech about my transition and I wasn't sure really where to go with it. I was speaking for a mental health outfit and it's been an interesting part of my journey and I just really wasn't sure what direction I should go in for this speech. And thankfully, the person who had asked me, one of my bosses now, she gave me a very helpful hint and really unique opportunity. She asked me specifically to write what I would say to parents of trans kids, especially parents who are struggling to accept their child's transition and really be a support system for them in the way that they need to be. And it really created something interesting that I feel is worth sharing, which is why I'm making this video, and I might stumble a bit through it. I'm not really an on-camera person, I'm more a behind-the-scenes guy, which you'll see in more of my later videos, but I still think it's worth sharing, and it's in line with the content I want to create, which is just inspiration to be more, to be better, and to just keep on improving. So let's get into it before I stop recording. Anyway, how I started this speech, here it goes. Hello there. Thanks for lending me your ears. What you're about to hear is little bits of my story and what lessons it has offered me. Let's begin with the parentals. I know many of you are struggling with acceptance. For kids, accepting where their parents or family are at with their response to your transition journey. And for family, accepting where your kid or loved one is a little different than you may have thought. Everyone, transitioner or supporter, is on this lifelong process. So I invite all of you to walk with me through my past and present, and maybe we can build a better future. I'll start my story at 5 years old. My neighbor and I decided I was half boy. Boy, because duh, and half because I still had a flower. Apparently that was the technical term for vagina at our age, or so his older brother told him. I still laugh about it to this day. Anyway, that was my first hint at who I was. My parents wrote it off, but none of the other boys treated me any different, so I didn't worry about it. Not until I was about 7. We were in a hotel room with family. I can't recall why, but one of the grown-ups, not my parent, asked me, "Do you think God made a mistake when he made you a girl?" Now, I come from a very religious Christian family, and so to say God was wrong, that's just not done. So that was already an uncomfortable pressure. But they also assumed God made me a girl. And that just does not work. Like 404, file not found, very inaccurate. Sadly though, I wasn't strong enough to say yes. Hell yes. I think I said that there wasn't a mistake, but I didn't like what girls like. Something tantamount to my not feeling like a girl. And this person gave me some response to correct me, dissuade me. And this was the first time I understood that myself was just like a challenge to the beliefs around me. And I say beliefs, not religion. Religion is not anti-LGBT, but people certainly can be. Anyway, that was a truly unpleasant feeling for me. But no one I talked to offered me anything different. So I buried the feeling and moved on. Hope you can see that in camera, the air quotes. But yeah, moving on did not work. And a few years later, 13-year-old Nemo discovers the internet. This is how I had my first just understanding. This was my light bulb moment. This is where I really discovered the term transgender. So the internet just became my library and my escape. There was no opinions, it was just objective information that I could analyze at my own pace and really start to figure myself out without all this external influence that really wasn't helping me. And that was really all I needed. 16-year-old Nemo came out as trans. And it was all roses from there, said no non-conforming person ever. But seriously, that was nowhere near the end for me. My friends were great, but my parents, they were not. It got so bad that I chose to be homeless rather than be around them, which I speak about not to shame them or beg sympathy, but to tell you there's a reason I am here today. Substance to my words. Without supporting or embracing victim mentality, I tell you I have suffered greatly to get to where I am today. But I have also learned through that suffering, and while there are plenty more lessons I can take from it, I've picked up at least a few helpful hints to share with you today. So let's crack on. The first, and most important I feel, is to explore. Parents of children expressing nonconformity, explore it. If your child's actions or words differ from expectations, follow up. Children often discover their gender between 2 and 5 years old. 2 and 5 years old. Look it up. I knew at 5, but I didn't come out until I was 16. Why? Because I had no clue what was going on, or really what to call what was going on, and the people around me had even less than that, and no one sought help. Find a counselor or objective expert, and someone who can talk to your child. Give them space to express and understand themselves. This will help you understand. And make sure that your kid does not feel forced. It should be a pleasant environment for them and an ersatz translator for you. My second lesson is to have a funeral. Yes, you heard me correctly. Parents who are struggling to accept your child as they are, have a funeral for the child you thought they were. My mother and I clashed horribly for over 4 years because she wouldn't admit to me or herself that she felt I killed her little girl when I came out as trans. I know this because I point blank told her she was feeling this way after months of really, really bad fighting and me just being absolutely fed up. Months later, she admitted I was right. I do not know if my words were the light bulb moment for her or what, but she found her way. She found her way to acknowledge this feeling and to deal with it. But it took time and a lot of unnecessary pain. So please, take time away from your kid and grieve. Grieve for whatever child you think you've lost, and be honest with yourself if you're feeling that way. Because lying about it is not going to work. 1, your kid's going to see it. And 2, it's just not going to help anybody. Don't do it. Be honest with yourself so you can get past it. Do what you need to do to let go of your expectations and embrace your real child who is waiting to be acknowledged and loved. Do what you need to do. Which brings me to point 3. Get your own therapist. People in transition cannot avoid therapy in our society. I've certainly never met one who has. But I doubt the majority of parents with trans kids go to their own sessions. And I think that is just not helpful in most cases. Find someone you can talk to, because you probably haven't experienced this before, and that's okay. But find someone who can help you. Someone to address your struggle, to support you so you can support them, to be the parent they need. My mom's best friend has a kid 11 years my junior who recently came out as trans male, and my mom became her confidant. She also advised her through step 2 in her own way. My mom's friend said that she thought she was sad, that she finally had a daughter, she thought, and she didn't. She had Riley. And my mom, who had been through it with me, told her something that I am very proud of. She said, When you're struggling, you're going to come find me. Talk to me, cry to me. So you never do that in front of Riley. That, unbeknownst to me, was some of the best advice my mother has ever given. I asked Riley how his family has been before I found this out, and he said, great, his mom has been his rock. And that meant the world to me. First off, to just see someone else in my position with my label, or whatever you want to call it, it was just accepted, it has a supportive family, and just loved. And that was wonderful. And that's enough to just really, really get me in my feels. But more than that, I was just so jazzed about the role that my mom had played in that. To see that, yes, we can learn, and we can do better next time. And so that would be my biggest advice points to parents. Explore your child's identity and allow them to do so at any age, because your kid knows. They just don't have the language to explain it to you, and you can give that to them. So just do that. Give them the language, give them the space to do that. Let them tell you, because they will. Have a funeral for whatever you expected them to tell you. Grieve. Let yourself mourn the loss of whatever ideas you had on your head, which I think honestly is helpful for parents of any kid, because there's usually a pretty big gap between what a parent expects of their child and what that child expects for themselves and what they turn out to be. So just have a funeral. Accept that loss, which isn't really a loss, but just like let go of your preconceived ideas and see the reality of your child who just needs love and support, who needs you. Get your own support system, because you need help too. This is a process for everyone in a trans person's life, not just that person. And you need your own safe space so you when you are around your trans kid, you can be there for them. So yeah, those are my advice points. And that was a bit of my trans experience. And excuse me, it might be running, but I'm going to double check my camera because it seems to have an auto timer and I've been speaking too long apparently. Nope, we're recording, so this will just be a funny tidbit. But anyway, continuing my speech from there. That was a bit of my trans experience and thoughts for you. Hopefully it was of service to hear, or at least interesting, since this is not the intended audience for this speech. But now, I want to delve into my plain old human experience, which is another important thing that I'll say to parents, but it's more just about me, so if you're not interested, this would be the time to go off and do your thing. But I still think it's worth hearing, so thank you for whoever sticks around. Anyway. Now I want to delve into my plain old human experience, because that is me, whatever labels I embody, trans, poly, pan, they are just a part of my person, they're not the whole picture. I'm more than just trans, you feel me? Great, so where were we? 16 years old, little Nemo, fresh out the closet. And cue the shitstorm. I spent 4 years trying to reconcile with my parents. No dice. Here are some gems I heard during that time. You should have stayed a girl then, when I thought I was gay. I just can't see you as a boy. Sometimes I just can't accept you. If you were a lesbian, it'd be easier. Some real winners. So at 20, I gave up and stormed out, hot-headed and without a plan. Like my usual, I'll be honest. Thank you to all the wonderful people who offered me a couch or a room, who gave me a home when home wasn't an option. You know who you are. You made it so much easier, and I am endlessly grateful. Thank you. But that couldn't last forever. At 21, something clicked for me. I was still relying on friends, working dead-end jobs, and living in the same old town. No more. So what next? A 28-hour bus ride to Boca Raton. That was insanity, agony, and the start of my life. Because life starts when you make the jump. And that was what I held on to. Sleeping in McDonald's parking lot that first week. Yeah. Anyway, I jumped. My energy would go on roller coasters, crashing like the wheels of my suitcase, not made to be trekking around all day. Before rocketing when I remembered I was free, on my own path, rough or easy. There is no better feeling in the world than autonomy. And that kept me going, especially when my job fell through. I came to Boca Raton for a sure thing job that went nowhere. After a week of the runaround, I gave up on that option, which left me with two choices. I could go back, tail between my legs, or I could have a fresh start. Alright, go from scratch, completely. So I treated myself to an Airbnb, a hostel in Miami. This was supposed to be a one-night reprieve, like a little break before whatever was next that I was imagining some big struggle. But it turned out so much better. I ended up working there for a month in exchange for a free room. And during that time, I processed my emotional reaction to my new life, where coming out had pointed me. But more than that, I experienced the wonder of human connection. Not only did I become friends with my host, other staff, and several guests, on top of having safe shelter, which really, we need to appreciate that more, especially as someone who has not had it all the time in their life. It is so wonderful. Like, the littlest things matter. Anyway, one guest from Copenhagen and even told me about workaway.info, which is my main way of travel, and I could do an entire video on that, and I probably will at some point. They're awesome. Not sponsored, unless they want to. Feel free, but yeah, the awesome community. Anyway, I was able to share this with future guests along with my internet savvy to help them with finding work. And yeah. Excuse me, I lost myself here. Yeah. Anyway, I was able to just help them with finding work. Alright, and sometimes even just like listening to their story. So I was able to do something for people, and that felt good. I had this one friend who offered me extra of a meal they cooked. And good food is really a key to my heart. Probably the best one there is. So I'm feeling pretty happy and open to conversation. And this person confides in me their traumas that, to this moment, I have not experienced anything so difficult. Like, wow, just the stuff they went through. But if nothing else, I was able to listen. This one small thing I could do for them, even while I was struggling myself. And that pattern repeated throughout my travels. I was just doing what I can. Sometimes it was less, other times more. But like everyone, there's something I could do. There's something everyone can do. Like when I got a Craigslist rideshare from the Oregon border all the way down to Los Angeles, which if you don't know, is pretty much the whole of the west coast of the United States. A very long way, and I was very, very lucky. Also extremely low on money. But I still offered to pay for gas. My driver, amazing human, told me they felt I needed it more and let me slide. But I still wanted to do something for them. I wasn't sure what it was until we got into a snack shop at a gas station. And I ate the crickets. We went into the store and they were selling them on the counter. I think they were cheddar bacon flavor. And I commented how crickets were actually good. I had eaten them before. This person looked at me with horror, but like cringing curiosity. And so I was like, okay, this is something. I could at least give them a little bit of entertainment. We also had great conversation. And so there was that. And that was less for me. Come a few months later, deep into my vagabond ways, as I'll call it, because it's my favorite word for traveler, I'm at the airport. We're boarding the plane, and this person is told their carry-on is too big, they would have to check it. So they reluctantly pull out their wallet and fork over the fee. It happens. It sucks, but we all been there. Unfortunately, though, they don't accept cash, and this person has no friends to call and no cards. I had been there. I actually threw out half my luggage at one point because I just couldn't fit it, and they wouldn't let me slide. And so I gave the attendant my card and took the cash. That was a bit more. But this is what you do in the traveler community, which is my community. You look out for one another. And that's the community I chose as a person. My trans story led me to my current life, and it influences how I go about things in certain ways. But all of me, not just trans me, is on this journey, and that is why I bring this up at a platform for improving mental health. Yes, you need to look into all the parts yourself and really do a deep dive to understand each and every bit and piece. But after you do that, you have to live as all of you, a whole being, not any one of those pieces. This is what I am doing now. And it has been the best thing in overcoming the struggle in my mental health journey. So hopefully this helps you. And I welcome you to reach out to me for any other ways I can be of service. Thank you for listening. Truly, thank you for anyone who made it this far. I don't think my stutter was that bad, but every now and again you'll hear these pauses as I'm thinking about how I want to phrase something, or I just don't like what I wrote down, or I honestly space out sometimes. And yeah, so thank you. And yeah, just love and well wishes to you. Peace out.